Maybe you can't tell a joke, but when your stuff gets broke, what do? You give Tommy a call, whether it's large or small. There's no project he can't see through. Let's laugh and learn from this handyman, with Kitty hold this by his side, fixing stuff in a serious way with a not so serious guy.
Hey, Jake!
Hey.
Matera's here. He's gonna play us a little bit of an intro, and hopefully when we switch cameras, we will not lose our audio stream. Fixing stuff in a serious way with a not so serious guy. See how Jake naturally caught up to my lack of rhythm? That's a good musician right there. Huh? Welcome to America's Funniest Handyman with House Calls with America's Funniest Handyman and friends. I'm so happy to be here that you can't see how hard my nipples are because I got pockets. Ow! Ow! Okay, who's with us today? Jake Matera, one of the funniest guys in Philadelphia, playing guitar, giving us some sound effects, making sure there's no dead space and dead air. Who else do we have here? We have Kitty and Carl Hold This. Kitty and Carl Hold This back from their recent honeymoon. Kitty Hold This, she's number 11. She comes from Philadelphia. She was invented by America's Best Handyman 10 years ago to hold tools and other things while Tommy's working on stuff. But somehow along the way, Kitty Hold This developed a personality and started talking to me. Kitty has now become my friend. And she's also a little bit of a life coach to Jake Matera.
That's true.
How's that working out for you, Jake?
She told me I don't need to be so stiff.
I'm right here, Jake. You can talk right to my, well, you can't talk to my face, but you can talk to my neck.
Kitty?
Okay, you should probably have a camera off me when I'm doing Kitty. All right, we're going to go back to having a conversation. Okay. Jake, I gave you some advice recently. How did it work out for you?
Well, you're right. A happy, person is a...
You got to turn that down.
So, it's going pretty good. You can turn me down?
No. I'm sorry. I was telling somebody back there to turn the volume down. No, I gave you some recent advice, Kitty gave you some recent parenting advice. I think that's what she was asking you about.
Yeah, the parenting advice.
Yeah, how'd that work out for your son? Was he able to get his, was he able to potty train the way I instructed you? Or?
I mean, we didn't feel the need to have a camera in there, but everything else has been going pretty good.
Okay, all right. Well, just since everybody's here, I want to introduce my new husband, Carl.
Hi, Carl.
Hi, everybody.
Whoa, it's a deep voice. Are you a baritone?
Well, some people call me a janitor, but Kitty found me in a building. They was going to throw me out, and I was actually part of the Nike consortium. I was used for a lot of undergarments and what have you, and they was going to throw me out. And then Kitty came along and saw something in me, and we fell in love.
You were part of the Nike consortium? Is that the word?
Well, I was just a pawn for them.
But you were at Nike, and then you saw Kitty, and you just thought...
No, Nike cast me aside. They threw me in a dumpster.
Oh, okay.
And then America's Best Handyman was out there working, and he had Kitty Hold This with him, and she looked at me, and I looked at her, and it was armless, love, headless, love at first sight.
The best kind. Well, that sounds like a true Romeo and Juliet story right there.
All right, Carl, it's time to shut up and let Tommy take over the rest of the show, okay? Can we just...
Show.
Listen, Jake. Listen, if you don't start taking my life advice, we're going to have some major issues. Do you understand me?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so what I'd like you to do is just play a nice little riff, and we're going to transition back over to Tommy. I'm sorry about that, you guys. That was really sometimes these conversations get a little bit out of hand. I already said a whole bunch of stuff that didn't come through on the audio, so I'm going to try and go through this really quick. We're at 1,000 subscribers. It happened last night, which is really cool for our first broadcast today for America's Best and Funniest Handyman with house calls. All right. So, right now you're wondering, why am I doing a live home improvement show, and why now in this day and age? The reason that I'm doing a live home improvement show is because I feel like most of what's out there on television and in the DIY world is either not very entertaining or not very informative. So I'm trying to bring something new to the fold where people can have fun while they learn, because I feel like people honestly learn more when they're having a good time. It just reminds me of something somebody said. I had this really narcissistic CIA agent, believe it or not, that I know. I actually know this guy. He's a real jerk. And he actually said to me one time, just recently, a couple years ago, he actually said to me, "You really value fun, don't you? You like actually place value on fun and happy things, don't you?" And yeah, I do. And that's why we're here today. I'm going to get right to the rest of the show since we wasted so much of your time. Instead of like babbling on and on, I want to get to our first guest, all right? My first guest is a guy who has been in Philadelphia his whole life, and all the guys and girls that do comedy in the Philadelphia area either know Vince or know about him, because he's one of the only people in Philly that's like a real, just good dude and a pro, okay? So he's a producer, a director, an actor, a stand-up comic, and we're going to go talk to him right now. Are you guys ready to listen to this maniac that left a message on my voicemail? I have to use my daughter's phone because I'm a little technologically unadvanced, so the voice message is now on her phone, and I'm going to put my microphone next to her phone so that you guys can hear this dude. I had to actually bleep out some of the stuff that this guy said because he has a very foul mouth, so be warned. There is a little bit of cursing on here. There you go. All right, here we go.
Yeah, listen, I'm calling to leave a message for America's Funniest Handyman. My name is Dick Foreman, and I own a company called Foreman Enterprises, and I build shit. That's what we do. We build stuff. We don't walk around talking about how fun life is, thinking that everything's fun and games, and it's all about patience and safety and all that bullshit. Listen, I came onto my job site the other day, and I found 3 of my guys on coffee break, sitting around listening and watching your stupid little frickin' gay videos. I can't stand it. It made me sick. And when they go back to work, they're always slower when they go back to work after watching your videos, because they're all about, oh, I gotta have a good time while I'm working, and I gotta be patient. Oh, hey, Dick, I don't wanna hurt my fingers, Dick. I'm about production and results. And I can't get results if my guys are walking around thinking that life is a good time. I need them working. And I think if a guy is cutting open his fingers, that means he is working, and he's worth something. Guys that never get hurt on the job ain't worth shit. Means they ain't trying hard enough. What a bunch of crap. This whole DIY movement is a bunch of crap. For years I've been losing customers because I want to do it myself. You can't do it yourself, and a job site is no place for smiles and fun. I'm sick of this crap. I'm so sick of this crap that I'm making it my mission to start taking down the DIY movement one at a time. And I'm starting with you, America's Funniest Handyman. You watch your freaking back, because Dick Foreman is coming for you. Maybe the next time I call, you'll have the decency and the balls to answer the goddamn phone like a man, you son of a bitch.
Hi, guys. I'm here with Philly's own Vince Valentine. We're going to get right into it so that you guys can learn a little bit about Vince while I learn a little bit more about Vince. Vince, you grew up in South Philadelphia, correct?
Sort of. We was born there, lived there for a little while. Mom and Dad saved up enough money, got enough money to cross the Wall Whitman Bridge. The car ran out of gas in Belmar. That's where I grew up.
How old were you when you guys moved to Belmar?
I think it was 5 or 6. But they all my family still lived there. So you know, my aunts and uncles, my grandparents, and all. So I was there every weekend, and you know, all my buddies.
What's going on over there?
It's Sunday morning landscaping. So, but I think that's going on outside. But,
I missed you telling me how old you were.
I was young. I was like five or six. Mom
Okay.
would know all that stuff. Mom handles all the details.
So what do you, before we move on to New Jersey
Yes.
and your later childhood, what do you remember about South Philly?
Oh, well, I mean, being born there, obviously, you know, I remember being at my grandmother's house, but you got to understand, like, Belmar is only literally right on the other side of the bridge. So
So you went back and spent a lot of time.
I was at my grandmother's, you know, every weekend. My Aunt Marie and Uncle Raymond, they lived on 9th and Shunk, and you know, that was like the kind of hangout house. We were always popular because the water ice place is right there. So we go stop to see Aunt Marie, walk down the street, get water ice, and then come back and just say hello. It was always in, you know. It was
What was the name of the water ice place that you guys?
Italianos on 12th and Shunk.
Italianos?
Yes, the original gelati
On the corner of what?
of 12th. Yeah, 12th and Shunk. Yeah.
12th and Shunk.
Yeah, Shunk. Yeah, they used to put the gelati, not gelato, gelati, which was ice cream.
Yeah.
Hard ice cream, not soft serve, and then water ice together.
Really?
Like a little bit of water ice, some hard ice cream, usually Breyers, and then water ice on top, and then it's
I never heard of that.
yeah.
Do they still do that? Does anybody still do that? Because
Yeah,
all I hear water ice.
Yeah.
Which in Philadelphia, if you guys are watching and you're not from Philadelphia, the correct pronunciation is WOODER. It's not water ice, it's water ice.
Water.
So I'm only familiar with water ice and gelato.
Right.
So you're saying this is gelati,
Gelati with an
which is a mixture of
hard ice cream and water ice.
cool,
And it was
delicious.
delicioso.
Now, was that part of the Italian neighborhood?
Yeah, well, it's all South Philly, and it's all, you know, from being down, you know, down there. And you got Pop's Water Ice, that was on Oregon Avenue. But yeah,
So what is your middle name?
Anthony,
Vincent or Vincenzo?
Vincent
Anthony Valentine.
Correctamundo.
I've just always loved your name because the first time I met Vince, I didn't meet. I think we met doing comedy, but the first time I actually got to know Vince, we were on break on a job in a high rise in Philly. Yes. You were doing Wallpaper.
Yes.
I was running cable.
Yes.
And I walked up to talk to this guy, and I was a little bit nervous to talk to him because he was he was way further along in Philadelphia than I was, especially in comedy and acting. And he was just nice. Can you fucking believe that? In Philadelphia and in the comedy business, he was just nice and started to talk to me, and we've been friends ever since. But I always thought that Vince Valentine, when I first met him, I thought that was a made-up stage name.
Yeah, everyone.
Because it's such a cool name.
Yeah, it's either my grandmother always says, you know, you should be a politician with that name, and I was like, I'm going right into porn. But yeah, but no, it is a memorable name for some reason. It does sound made up. There's a anime character called Vincent Valentine.
There is?
Yeah, and I get people are into that. They're like, there's that. There was a New England Patriots defensive lineman. His name was Vincent Valentine.
Really?
Also, yeah. So it's not an uncommon name. It's just, but it's kind of, it's kind of unique, and it's a little memorable. But no, it's not a stage name. Everyone asks me that. And little sidebar, ironically, I'll figure this one out. Valentine's Day is my birthday.
I
kid you not.
Are you shitting me?
I kid you not. Yeah.
So your name is Vince Valentine, and you were born on Valentine's Day.
I was in the newspapers when I was born. They came and interviewed my mom. John Facenda actually came down to the
Johnny
hospital.
who?
John Facenda.
Who's John Facenda?
John Facenda is the voice of NFL films.
Oh, really?
Yes. And Joe Conklin does a great impression of him, and he was like the frozen tundra.
Oh.
Yeah, he was
I wish I'd known this ahead of time. We could have gotten the clip.
Yeah.
Do you still have I'm sure you still have it somewhere.
Yeah, my brother drew glasses on it with a pen, and that was in our scrapbook. So I don't know if there's any more copies of it. But there's a picture of me and my mom, my mom holding me in the hospital, and then, yeah. So that was kind of a fun thing.
So how old were you when you got into porn?
I don't know what time is it. I'm still waiting to hear from my porn.
You didn't go
agent.
into with a name like Vince. Vince Valentine. You could have gone into porn, but you didn't.
Yeah.
So you moved to New Jersey when you were 5, and you have a brother,
A
right?
younger brother.
Yeah. How much younger?
He's 4 years younger than.
4 years younger.
Yeah.
So he was a baby when you guys moved.
Yeah, he was. He was already born when we were here, or something like that. It was right around. I'm bad with numbers because it involves math, and I hate rules. And math involves a lot of rules.
Yeah.
So, it was all around that time. So, but yeah, he's 4 years younger than me, and I think it was one of the reasons why we moved because we only lived in a 2-bedroom apartment in South Philly. So.
Well, that was the time a lot of people were moving out of the city back then.
Yeah, pack up the truck and move to people. Yeah, lived across the bridge.
So you could go. You could take your kids to a school with a name instead of a number.
A number, yeah. Right.
I mean, that's why a lot of parents, I think, were attracted to that back then, right?
Correct. Yeah, and also nowadays, like the car, people are still doing the migration across the bridge. It's just the cars get better gas mileage, so they're able to go past Belmar and they wind up in Washington Township or Mullica Hill. Yeah. So you still have a lot of people. migrating, and that's
Don't
where
you
the
live
cars
in
run out of
Washington
gas.
Township now?
My parents do now. The cars get better gas mileage.
Yeah.
So that's where the cars run out of gas, and we're putting up the stakes.
And your mom and dad are both still alive?
Oh yeah. Oh, they're alive, all right. They're probably, what's it, 11? They're probably just getting in from the casino from last night. Yeah, they don't ask my mom if she's going to casino tonight because she won't answer that question. She'll actually tell you no. A couple weeks ago, we were all down the shore, and a friend of the family, Maria, who's like family, she's crazy. She goes, so you guys going down the shore? Are you guys going to the casino tonight? My mom doesn't say anywhere. She goes, nah, probably. I says, no, you asked the wrong question. You asked the wrong question. I says, you got to say, are you going sometime before you go to bed tonight? My mom and my aunt will go to the casino at like 1 in the morning and stay there till like 7, 8 in the morning. Because, they don't like the crowds and all and everything, but they have the whole casino to themselves. But, they're way, they're
really into the casinos.
But they're my mom and dad are the best. If you meet my mom and dad, you would love them. Everybody meets them, they love them. They're like, my dad is like Polly Walnuts from, everything. Like, remember the scene in Sopranos where they go into the Polly Walnuts and I forget who it was, might have been Big Pussy. They go into the like Starbucks type store. And it bothers Paulie. Like that's
he can't handle it.
He can't handle it. Like so, that's my dad. Something like if something bothers him, it bothers him for like a week. So
he's just old school city boy.
Old school, yeah.
Old school city boy.
And he's again old school, and he talks in South Phillyisms. He puts an S at the end of everything. He doesn't go to Costco. He goes to Costco's.
Yeah,
we're gonna go to Costco's, and then he'll he always better get Saul.
Does he throw and shit on the end of anything?
Sometimes.
That's like I used to have a joke in my act about how in Philly, if you want to take the gay out of something you're saying, you just put and shit on the end of it. Right. Like that's a nice shirt and shit.
Right. I got this from Target actually.
And shit.
It's from the Target collection.
It's a Target collection.
Actually, I took it from some kid that was working there. But
have you ever worn that into Target and had people approach you and start asking you things?
No, but I should.
My friend Dominic used to wear tan pants and red shirts all the time, and he used to mess with people when they would ask him. They're like, "Hey, do you know where the women's department is?" And he would turn around and just mess with them.
Right, or wear khakis and walk into someone's house and tell them they're from Xfinity.
Okay, so I want to know, what age were you when you started to notice that you were funny?
Oh my gosh, probably around 8 or 9. Because I, again, like when we moved from South Philly, like. The street I grew up on, Kennedy Boulevard, was all people from South Philly. So you were from South Philly, or your parents were from there, and you moved there. And the old, there was a lot of kids, whole neighborhood of kids, and always made the older kids laugh. Yeah. And I'd be like, "Hey, we're older kid, come here, tell that joke again, or do that thing." I would do an impression of the Godfather. Like, come here, and I'm like 8. And
they're like, "Hey!"
Always made the older kids laugh, and always made my family laugh, made my friends laugh, and all and everything.
I remember that George Carlin joke on one of his early albums where he's like, "Hey guys, didn't make the team, but blah, blah."
Right?
Hey, you want to go to a party, man? This guy's cool.
And again, you just, I would do impressions of, Billy Crystal talks about this one time. He goes, back in the day when they used to have house parties, the relatives would come over and everybody put the beds on the coats. And Billy Crystal...
Coats on the bed.
The coats on the bed. And Billy Crystal used to go get the coats and do an impression of every relative's while he was wearing their coat.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of environment I grew up in. We were always joking. We were all at Battielli's were 4 brothers. I was friends with the youngest, Mark.
Battielli's?
Mark Battielli.
That's a nice Italian name.
Right. And I was friends.
Yo, Battielli.
They were 4 brothers, and I was friends with the youngest, and they were all hilarious.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
All 4.
All 4 brothers. And they were all different funny. And, when you're in that environment and you're growing up in that neighborhood and, it cultivates. And I always think it's a little bit of nurture and nature on how someone becomes funny.
Yeah.
But, but back to your original question, around 8 or 9, everyone, I remember being a little kid and my grandpa got me this for my birthday or Christmas, this little black and white TV. Yeah. Right? Portable with the antennas, and I remember...
Yeah, that you could take in your bedroom.
Take in your bedroom, right. So I had it in my bedroom. I remember I used to set my alarm clock for 10:30, because that's when the Honeymooners came on Channel 48. And I would watch the Honeymooners with the volume real down low, and then as soon as it was over, I'd go back to sleep. And I remember I was about 8 or 9 when that was...
But you would watch the comedic timings of the genius of Art Carney.
Right. And of course, the great Jackie Gleason and all. And I was always a fan of comedy. Mm-hmm. I remember one time I was in high school.
What was Art Carney's wife's?
Trixie.
No, I mean the actress. She was good. And nobody ever talks about her.
His wife in real life?
No, on the show.
Oh,
I can't... The actress is...
Audrey Meadows.
Yeah, she was...
Yeah, although that was all tight, and talk about live. They shot all the Honeymooners live. Mm-hmm. I was always a fan of comedy. I remember one time, my friend Mark Carrero in high school, his mom and dad used to go to the casinos all the time. So they had a built-in pool. He would throw these big, giant parties. It was awesome, right? And I remember one time, and he had HBO, and he was throwing a high school party. And
Annie had HBO.
Annie had HBO. So now now everybody's outside in the party in the pool, who's we're having a great time. And I remember sneaking down in the basement and putting on Robert Klein.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody's upstairs having a great time, and here I am in
watching
his basement,
watching
Robert Klein. He came down to get something, maybe ice or more vodka.
Yeah.
Right. And he's like, "What are you watching?" And I'm like, "Dude, Robert Klein's on." He's like, "Yeah, but we're having the music."
And you're like, "Yeah, but it's Robert Klein."
And he's like, "You watch him 2 minutes. This guy ain't funny. I'll be up in a couple minutes." But I was always
dude, I had similar experiences. I had a similar experience with Richard Pryor. Mm-hmm. Being at my uncle's house. He had Showtime and HBO before we did. And while everybody was out in the living room doing fun stuff, me and my cousin were sneaking back into the back bedroom to watch Richard Pryor live on the Sunset Strip when we should not have been watching Richard Pryor live on the Sunset. We were way too young to be watching it, but we were just fascinated, Yeah. And then something else you just said reminded me of it was... can't remember. It left.
But I think that's a great thing, especially about what Netflix and Showtime and all the specials. It gives the younger generation an avenue to stand up comedy. We had Johnny Carson, that was it, and then you had to go to a club, and I think it exposes everyone to a wider audience, and also not just a typical middle-aged white guy. And we both are middle-aged white guy point of view. I mean, look at the stand-ups nowadays. It's a whole. It's almost like our society. It's everyone. It's inclusive, and you hear everyone's point of view from a comedic point of view.
Yes, I went through some growing pains. I don't know if you remember this, but just I don't know, probably over the last over a period of about 5 years, I was getting passed on for gigs, and I would do really well at contests, but not place, or feel like I won and not get first. You know what I mean? Comedy is really subjective anyway. Yeah. But I was starting to experience the growing pains of our society getting a little sick and tired of hearing from guys like us all the fucking time. Right. Because, and at first it bothered me, but then I had to stand back and remove my ego from the situation and realize that, you know what? People have been hearing from middle-aged white guys ever,
Yeah.
as far as we can remember. And so, yeah, we need to crack the door open and let some other people in.
Right. Well, not only
And now it's getting, I think it is, it's getting funner.
right. Yeah. It's you know, when I produce a show, I try to bring a little bit of everybody.
Yeah.
You know, there's a new, not a new comic anymore, but Brendan Donegan.
Yeah.
It's like my tool belt is older than him.
Yes.
But he's hilarious, and you know, you put him on the show, one of the shows I produced, and it's like you're seeing a point of view from someone in their 20s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A comic from someone in his 20s, and it's yeah, I think it's good. It's good for everyone.
Yeah.
It's good for everyone.
Well, and it seems like for a long time, like black guys have really gotten passed on a lot at a lot of the bigger A clubs, because sometimes they tend to just skew towards white people.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's cool that the entire playing ground is leveling out, and we're seeing more shows where we're seeing a mixture of people, period.
Yeah.
Men, women, you know, transgender, gay, who cares?
Right.
You know what I mean? Funny is funny.
Funny is funny.
And you and I both have a pet peeve about this, that there are people in this world that is like, what year is this?
Yeah.
That you actually hear things come out of people's mouth where like, oh, women aren't funny. Like, what? Yeah. Why would you say that?
You're not hanging around the right women, because some of my friends that are yeah.
My daughter's hilarious.
Yeah.
Both of my daughters are hilarious. My grandmother was the funniest woman I ever met.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, if you watch this show coming up, we have tons of funny women coming up. We have Julia Scotti, and I can't say the other names because these other women I haven't asked yet, so I don't want to tell them that I want them on the show, but we got a lot of funny women coming up.
Funny is funny.
On the show. Funny is funny. It has nothing to do with the package it's wrapped in, right?
That's the litmus test.
Yeah.
Funny is funny.
Oh, I wanted to talk about something a lot of the people in the audience might not know about, this really cool thing that you did called Defending the Cavemen.
Mm-hmm.
So what year did you audition for Defending the Cavemen? Defending the Caveman. I want to say that clearly so people understand it. Defending the Caveman. I'm going to let Vince talk about it.
Yeah, so Defending the Caveman is a Broadway show. It's the longest running one-person show in Broadway history, written by Rob Becker. I was I'm still doing it, one of the actors that were hired by him to perform it.
I saw Rob Becker twice perform this himself before I even knew Vince. I went to see the show.
Yeah, so and he's a
great show.
Thank you.
Yeah, it is. It's a well-written, really
timeless.
It's a one-man awesome show.
So he wrote this great show, and he hired actors to do it. I was fortunate enough to get the gig, and it's based on the difference between men and women. Yeah, and how men we're different because we evolved differently. Men were hunters, women were gatherers, and jokes ensue. But it's a one person show. And
how long is it?
It used to be an hour and 55 minutes all the way through. Wow. But we added an intermission. Mm-hmm. Not so much for me or the other actors, because I had great acting training, as you know.
We'll get to that in a second.
We'll get to that, yeah. We cut it down only because it gave the audience a break. Plus, it gave the the theaters and the venues the little intermission. So a little of this, drink a little of that. It helps with their revenue when people would have an intermission. But anyway, so it's 45-minute first act and 48 minutes second act. So it's almost 2 hour 2 hour show. But so it's it's taken me all over the country. I've been to Hawaii. I've been everywhere, just about everywhere.
Did you travel outside the country for it too?
No, I have not. It is done around the world because Rob translated it into different language.
Interesting.
Well, he didn't translate it, but he sold the rights, and they translated it into. It was in South Korea. It was in Germany. It's in Iceland.
Yeah.
It's all over the. It's in South America.
Yeah.
So it's all over the world. It's been translated into many different languages. But it's it really allowed me to see the country and meet different people. I met so many great friends and new people traveling all around Pittsburgh and Boston.
What's the most shows you had to do in a row, like successively?
Well, I was at the Kimmel Center in Philadelphia for 8 months.
8 months.
Yeah, and we
in here in Philly.
Philly, yeah.
That was before I knew you.
Yes, that was in 2000 and again, I'm bad with dates and numbers. That was I'm going to say it
was a while ago.
2005, 6, 7, something like that.
That's right when I moved here.
Yeah. So I was there for 8 months, and yeah,
Was that fun?
I
mean, playing in your hometown at a huge, giant venue like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Realize, like, here's the thing, like, I don't realize stuff when I'm in it because I'm but like when I look back in the rearview mirror and go, yeah, it was pretty cool. Yeah, we did 8 months at the Kimmel. We did Thursday night. I think we did Thursday night. We did Friday, 2 shows Saturday, and a Sunday matinee in the Innovation Studio. And that was like a 210-seat theater, which was perfect. Low ceilings, you know, real nice and tight, and that, you know, that's the place where you want to see not only comedy but this actual piece, because it's intimate. Everybody's nice and close, and I can really connect.
And it's a narrative. Audience. It's a narrative that you need to follow.
Right.
Yeah.
And it really helps in that when you're connecting with the audience in a small venue like that. Yes. And but no, it was outstanding. Like I said, I had 4 comps to every show. And, I always had people, friends of mine or family members or, come to the show. I remember I would put them in row 4 because right around row 4, I can't see your face. Yeah. And my sister-in-law came to the show and she goes, yeah, thanks for the tickets, but how come we weren't in the first row? And I'm like, Melissa, I can't, it's weird. Like, I don't know about you, but it's not that I'm self-conscious.
It depends on what you're performing.
Yeah, I don't.
Like, if you're doing stand-up, it's different than if you're performing Defending the Caveman, that's different.
Yeah, but I just I love when my friends and family come to the show and love and support. It's weird. Like, it's weird for me seeing them sit right there.
It takes you out of the moment.
Right, it does. It kind of does a little bit. But yeah, so I put the...
It throws you off enough.
Right to where, like, I can see their faces, but the lights would just start to hit, but I would lose them with the stage lights. But it was
I'm the same way with comedy. When I do stand-up, I don't typically like my friends sitting right up front. Right. Because I'm typically going to talk to people in the front row.
We're doing crowd work.
And crowd work with your friends is not going to go nearly as well as crowd work with a stranger.
Correct. Exactly. Because they, But, but yeah, we had a little, I had the Sinatra bar that pulled out and people would come backstage. Oh, it was glorious. But, actually, and hopefully now that COVID's over, I'm going to Chicago with Cavemen and,
you're going to start back up?
Yeah, we're ramping back up again. We got stuff ready to go to contract. We're just getting ready to, I'm going to Chicago in end of September, beginning of October. And so hopefully we're back up, and hopefully I'll be back in Philly, because I don't only played the Kimmel Center. We came back and did other venues. We did the Prince Music Theater. We did the Bucks County Playhouse. We did the Penn's Landing Playhouse. So, I did Caveman in other venues. I was in Atlantic City for 10 weeks in 2008, right before everything went crazy with the Great Recession. But so it's a fun show, man. It really is. It's
living the dream.
So, it is.
It is. It is like actively doing what you just think about doing all the time.
And the great thing about it is like,
they're paying you to do it.
And I get paid to do it. Yeah. I think John Leguizamo said, "You don't pay me to perform. You pay me to get on a plane and travel and be away from my fammy." But no,
the performing part is effortless.
It's seeking the joy of your own experience, and that's what's fun about the show.
Where'd you hear that from?
Oh yes, seeking the joy of your own experience from.
Where'd you hear that from?
Carol Fox Prescott.
Who?
Carol Fox Prescott, the best acting teacher ever on the planet. What a great mentor and a great soul. And
how did you meet her?
I met her through Bill Primavera, who was my director in the Sopranos, which is
here in Philly.
Yeah, here in Philly, we did a show called The Sopranos, which was a parody of The Sopranos, and it was basically like a Tony and Tina's interactive show. And he was our director, and he helped me with Caveman. He helped me get the audition, or not the audition, but I got the audition. He helped me prepare.
Did you work with Carol before that audition or after?
No, after the audition. After Caveman, actually, I was already at the Kimmel Center.
Get out of here. Huh.
So Bill helped.
So you already were an accomplished actor when you met the best acting teacher in the world.
Right. In fact.
So how did that change your trajectory and your career, and what did that change for you?
Well,
besides, I know what the most important thing it changed.
Yeah.
the most important thing that changed was your ability to enjoy every freaking performance, right?
Right.
Amazing.
And I've learned a lot of great things through both Bill and Carol. And Bill was a Carol disciple. He studied with Carol. So I remember one day he calls me up on the phone. He goes, "So you ready to see how far the rabbit hole goes?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Like Matrix,
Yeah.
And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "I think you're ready to go see Carol."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And I was, like I said, I was doing Caveman and for about a year or so, and I was at the Kimmel Center, and I started. So I was there October, November, December, January. The first week in January, I start with Carol.
Yeah.
Right. So I go up there, and she taught out in New York and all, learning and getting immersed with her and everything. And I would actually go 2 days. I would go Tuesday night, sleep at Bill and my friend Trisha. They were married at the time. Sleep at their house in Queens, and then get up the next morning and go study with Carol again with a whole new different group of students.
Yeah.
Right? So I was getting
awesome
going twice.
Jeez.
So, anyways, long story short, I'm learning, and I'm learning all about the breath and all her techniques and all and everything. And then I am in the middle of doing Caveman, and my stage manager, the great Joanne Tufo, Joanne Tufo, who's an actor herself, sits me down in like the middle of February. He goes, "So, what's going on up there in New York?" I says, "What do you mean?" She goes, "You're doing the whole show like completely different." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She goes, No, it's different. Good.
Same words.
Same words.
Yeah.
Just, and again, Carol, you can never repeat a performance. You can only repeat the process that takes you there.
Yep.
And that's how you hear.
And don't even try to repeat it.
Right. Don't even try it. Don't even try it. Like that, you hear that term, mailing it in. That's how people get caught mailing it in. They're like, I step here, I say this word like this, and I walk back this way. And she's like, no, don't work that way. This is the playground. If you have to be here for a cue, that's a different story. But this, you can go anywhere. You want to do the show laying on your back or standing on one foot, do it. If that brings joy.
I watched a really cool interview with Christopher Walken recently about, he was talking a lot about the way he attacks a script, the way that he works with a piece. And what he was saying sounded so much like hearing Carol talk.
Yeah.
And if you guys, for anybody that's out there listening, you might not be as into the craft of acting and performing as Vince and I are. However, we were both fortunate enough to meet this woman. Her name is Carol Fox Prescott. She lives up in upstate New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's getting a little older, so she doesn't travel as much anymore. But I was introduced to Carol through Vince because Carol was coming down to act, and I had already taken a bunch of acting classes and had some really good acting teachers, including a guy in San Francisco named Rafe Chase, who's an improv actor, who taught me all this great stuff. But Carol just teaches acting in a very simplistic way that teaches you to find the present moment simply by paying attention to your breath. Yeah. And you have to take several classes with Carol just to get over the fact that you can't believe that what she just taught you is that easy.
Yeah.
Like you have to take more classes. Just go, is it really this easy? And I can't teach it to you now. I can't tell you how to do it. Yeah. We could if we had an acting class, but she's just a wonderful woman.
And it doesn't,
just an amazing person.
You don't have to, in addition to what you just said, you don't have to be an actor. She teaches public speaking. It helps with public speaking.
Exactly.
And she teaches. It's on Zoom too. So
yeah, she teaches breathing and awareness. Period. You do not have to be an actor to study with her. She teaches Zoom online, I think Thursdays.
Yeah, something like that.
Thursday morning she does yoga and acting, I think. Yeah. She's awesome. Look her up. Carol Fox Prescott. Her book is called Breathing and Awareness. Yeah. Best acting book I ever read.
Yeah, I wore it out.
And it's short.
Yeah, sure. It's only that. Yeah, you can read it in a day.
Yeah.
But it's All
right. So enough about that. Let's talk about blue collar shit.
Yes.
Because we are blue collar. We forgot about that.
Yes.
We are blue collar.
Yes.
That's how we put money in the bank. Sometimes, if acting is slow, Vince has had way more success with his acting career, but most performers today need to do something to make sure that the rent is always paid and that we always have health insurance, because being creative for a living, usually does not take care of those two things. So people like us typically perform as often as we can, but we fall back on our hands to make sure, like I said, the rent gets paid and we have health insurance. Okay? And I'm excited about what we're about to learn because Vince is a master wallpaper hanger, meaning that he's been doing it so long that he can do it in his sleep with his eyes closed, with a dull knife and shitty tools. That's how good he is. Today, probably bought some good tools, and I don't even know what to start with when I'm asking about wallpaper. My biggest question is, and how do you get the seams so perfect?
Well, you could do two things. You can either get residential stuff where the seams are perfect and you just butt them together.
So you buy really nice material.
Well, and that's not so much buying really nice material because you can pay, $180 for a single roll of wallpaper and it's garbage.
Really?
Yeah. Or you can spend $20 on a roll of wallpaper and it's, grilled perfect stuff to install.
Okay.
So that's like a fallacy. Like we spent so much on this wallpaper and they print it or it could be a hand print and difficult to install. And if you're the first timer or a homeowner, do-it-yourselfer, you want something that's easy to work with to make the job come out easier. So as far as like making the seams perfect, I would say for the homeowner, start out on something easy. Do an accent wall where you're not going around any corners, you don't have to worry about. Do an accent wall, no windows, or do your dining room like above the chair rail, or below the chair rail, even better.
Or if you're going to do a single room and it's the first time you've ever done a room, start with the spot in the room that's behind the door or something like that.
Something like
right?
that. So, you don't have to, but you always want to end behind the door, especially if it's a pattern or something. Yeah. So, but there's, again, like I always tell everybody, like, when I do a job, I tell me the first 30 years are the hardest, because I'm still learning stuff. It's more, I was always told it's more of an art than it is a trade because, it isn't like, as an electrician, if you're wiring something, there's rules. This wire must connect with this wire for that wire to wire.
And there's danger involved.
And there's danger involved. With wallpaper, there might be 8, 9 different paper hangers on the job, and everyone else is starting their room differently or has a different technique or, So with that, it's more of an art than it is a trade.
I think it's more like carpentry like that. Because carpentry, there's this thing, you ever heard the 10 Carpenter Rule? Mm-mm. Like if you give a pile of wood to 10 different carpenters and ask them to make a table, they're all going to come back with 10. They're going to come back with 10 different tables.
Oh, okay.
Or if you ask them to build a wall, 10 carpenters are going to do it 10 different ways. Okay. Not so much with electricity, plumbing, stuff like that, but with carpentry and creative trades like wallpaper, Yeah,
well, and I think wallpaper is that same way. So back to your original question, how do you get the seams look too good? I'd say, first of all, would be pick an easy project as far as what wall you're going to do it on. Number 2, prepare your walls correct, and we can talk a little bit of that when we do the other segment, but you want to have the walls prepared correctly.
Okay.
That'll help. And then third, pick out a good wallpaper as far as something that's easy to work with. You don't want to pick out something
don't buy an expensive print.
Well, again, you can buy an expensive print. Yeah, you don't want
nothing complicated where they come together, right?
Right, like there's like gingham, gingham patterns or plaid patterns. Where that's difficult for me.
Gingham style?
Yeah, gingham style, right. Where you have horizontal and vertical lines that have to meet, and that's difficult for me. Now, thank God for the the invention of lasers now that are cheap enough for us to use that. We laser.
Oh my God, lasers have made laying out a room
change the world.
It really did. For you guys especially, because you have. Yeah, you have to lay out everything before you even touch the paper.
Right, because like talking about behind the door, like you
got to plan out the whole room.
You got to plan out the whole room.
Every wall.
Not every corner's perfect. No. So now you're going around the room with a gingham, and my friend Wayne, who's like...
Yeah, and when it gets to this corner, the corner is a half an inch out at the top and then the bottom.
Yeah, and my friend Wayne, he just retired. In fact, I call him Obi-Wan Kenobi. So he said, he just showed me this trick with... He uses 2 lasers when he uses the like a plaid.
Yeah.
And you got end behind the door, and he showed me this trick with using two different lasers where you can cheat just a little bit all the way down, and then boom, it would never mismatch. It would never match when before lasers. Now you can make it match perfectly, coming around and ending the pattern behind the door where you don't even know where the pattern ends and begins.
Because the laser casts like an 1/8 of an inch line, so as you're going around, you can hover above and below the line to cheat things. That's what I do with a lot of little things I do.
Sure. Yeah. But back to your original question, as far as like for the homeowner or, for the DIY person, start with don't bat above your, don't bat out of your league. Don't try to outkick your coverage. Stay with something simple. And there's not that many of us around, but if you're, it isn't like paint.
No.
If you paint a wall and you screw it up, what's paint cost? $50? You can fix it very easily.
Yeah.
But wallpaper, it might cost you thousands of dollars. And if you try to attempt this to yourself, you're going to have a headache. So there's not that many of us around, but try to find a paper hanger who is a paper hanger, not someone who does it on the side, not someone who's
not a painter who does it once in a while,
not someone whose uncle did it or my grandpop did this and that. No, it isn't like.
Guys, if you hire a painter to do wallpaper, I guarantee you there's going to be vodka involved. Okay.
I did not pay you to, but no. So like I said,
no offense to any of the toothless painters out there that are watching this.
But none of my friends are painters, so I know, and they're great people. But
I break just to let you know, I break the balls of every single trade, not just painters. We'll get to roofers later.
But so like I said, I just if you have it in your budget, here's my other thing. If you have it in your budget for $500 worth of wallpaper, you find it in your budget to hire somebody to install it.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's something that can be tackled by the do-it-yourselfer, but you really, if you want to take a chance and gamble, all right, good. And
dude, I've been in the trades for 30 years now, and I haven't put up one piece ever, but I've had to take some down.
Yeah.
Okay, and I know there's probably some people out there that want to know, what's the shortcut to taking wallpaper down? Can you just make it easy for me, Vince? Is there an easy way to do it?
Easiest way would be to build a time machine and get in that time machine and then go back to the day that stuff was installed and tell the person installing it or the people whose house it was and say, spend the extra $50 and prepare your walls correctly, and you'll never have a problem taking wallpaper off. That's what ruined this industry.
Really?
Because you had too many fly-by-nighters, you had too many people doing side work or my uncle used to do this. And what happened was when we transferred from plaster to drywall.
Yes.
Okay, plaster is not absorbent. So you could paper over paper over paper, wet it, scrape it, it'll come off. When
Get out of here.
Drywall's like a sponge.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
If you don't prep that wall, if you don't give that a barrier, all that drywall is going to do is soak in that water.
So people are just papering right onto the paper?
Well, you used to be able
right onto the paper on the drywall.
Well, you used to be able to do that over plaster because first of all, it was plaster. Second of all, it wasn't vinyl.
But plaster is completely different.
Right.
Yeah.
You had it was like a barrier, and it's not as absorbent as drywall.
And technically it's masonry.
Yes.
Like smooth masonry.
Right. But what happened was the drywall was like a sponge, right?
Yeah, and it's paper.
And then it was paper. Like
you're putting paper on paper. You're gluing paper to paper.
Right. So now you have drywall and then vinyl. Now you have vinyls and different other materials out there, and you can't paper over that. And then, again, back to the original. If you prepare the walls the right way over the drywall, you can take paper down and redo it all the time.
So the key to good wallpaper prep. Okay, so the key to good wallpaper prep is preparing the wall properly. And making sure that you're not gluing paper onto paper.
Right. Or putting paper up over fresh drywall or brand new drywall, because when you go to take it down, you'll want to jump out a window because you're not setting yourself up to succeed down the road, not only in installation, but and that's why people go, oh, it costs us, $5,000 to take this wallpaper down and get it ready to, we're never wallpapered again. That's why there's no paper hangers around no more. One of the reasons why.
Well, paper's coming back in now.
Yes.
Paper is coming back into vogue because I'm starting to have customers that want stuff up and I can't find anybody for
There's
them.
none of us around.
No.
There's none of us around.
And there's not just none of you around. There's none of anybody around. Nobody knows how to do anything anymore.
Yeah, the truth. Well,
Yeah.
But yeah, and it is coming back. Like one wall, accent walls, a bathroom, a small kitchen, like
Yeah.
or hallway. It
I
is
love
coming
it.
back. Yeah.
I think it's cool that it's coming back in because the prints are getting better.
It makes a house a home.
Yeah, and it will date your home.
Yeah.
When you go to sell it.
Yeah.
You want to be able to take your wallpaper down before you sell your house because other people aren't going to like your wallpaper.
Right.
As much as you think it's the best thing in the world.
Right. So take the time and spend the money to
Listen.
prepare the walls.
What?
Prepare the walls.
Prepare the walls properly and you'll be able to take your wallpaper down.
Yes.
Do we have time to do any sort of demonstration of wallpaper? Sure. Cool. Let's go in the other room.
Sure.
I got a piece of sheetrock.
All right.
Oh, okay. Okay. You're going way back. I should have played Stairway to Heaven.
Yeah?
It's 7 minutes.
7 minutes? Because it's so long.
Yeah. The jingle's 30 seconds.
Are you saying our show's taking forever?
This show is taking so long. I miss my train.
Am I on? Can you hear me? Is this mic hot? Sorry.
Oh.
Jake's gonna miss his train.
Was that a thumbs up as in like I'm done or do we keep going? Okay.
Hey, there we are. I got my hard hat on. We got Biz. What's the first thing? We got a piece of sheetrock here that is not fastened to anything, but it is a 4 foot by 8 foot sheet.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, just a couple things. So now this is fresh drywall. Remember we talked about it being like a sponge, right? So you want to seal this. You could try. The train's going by.
Can you guys hear the train? Can you guys hear the train? Right by.
Right. So
Awesome. The train comes by.
yeah, this is like a big giant sponge. So now you want to seal this. You can prime it with just regular paint. That's not really too good. You want to use a wallpaper prep. Guards or 9R35.
9R35. You want to use a proper wallpaper primer.
Right.
That's good that he said that because if he hadn't said that, I would have just used a regular paint primer on here.
Now, sometimes you have to, if it's something, a thin pattern or something you can see through, you're going to want to paint it white so it doesn't bleed through.
Okay.
And then, what I mean bleed through is you might see the spackle marks, right? So
Yes.
if you hang something that's real light, you'll see the spackle marks after you hang, say, like a white wallpaper.
Yeah.
Okay? So you want to prime it, and then you want to let that dry, and then you want to prep it with the guards. Guards is really good. R35 or 9R35.
So no matter what you're doing, you want a nice even color underneath your wallpaper because you don't want any shadows coming through from what's underneath.
And then you prep your walls. There's R35, there's 9R35, there's guards. Zinsser makes a bullseye type kind of. You want to seal that. So once it's sealed, then you can install.
Once it's sealed.
Right. I'm also a big fan of on person, as you are probably. So you want to get a nice good pair of scissors. That'll help. These are scissors.
I have scissors.
Right? Okay.
These are my electrician scissors. Do not use electrician scissors for wallpaper. You need really smooth, nice, sharp scissors.
Smoother and putty knife.
Putty knife,
Right.
broad knife.
Broad knife, right? This is good for scoring the wallpaper when you're cutting around like a window frame. You can score it first. And more importantly, more than anything, pick up a box of single edge, straight edge blades.
Single edge, straight edge
See
blades.
them right here.
Not the not utility knife.
Right, because these are cheap enough, and definitely not the utility knife. And these are important. Okay? You use a cut, you flip it, you use a cut and throw it away.
Really?
Yes, that's important.
One cut and they're gone.
And they're gone. They're cheap enough. You want, because what'll happen is if you dull this just a little bit, even though you'll cut yourself, if you dull just a little bit, it'll pull the wallpaper and it'll rip it.
Really?
Yeah. So,
well, I noticed that when I'm cutting sheetrock.
Right.
That as the knife gets dull, it starts to pull the paper instead of cut the paper on the surface of the sheetrock. Right. So he's saying he throws the plate away after he uses it
one time.
One cut. Yeah. He throws the plate away.
So if I'm cutting around a door or something, or I'm cutting up top here, okay, all right, so with scored paper, and using this, and I would cut across like this, all right, soon you can flip that over on the next cut, but as soon as that's on, toss it. And then, again,
and how do you dispose of your blades? At the end of the day, let's say you got 10 or 15 blades that need to go away. What do you do with them?
Well, it'll be more than 10 or 15 blades, but because that doesn't mean you 10 or 15 times that. But no, some people put them in like a little can or jar. I wrap mine up with the edges of the paper. I'll wrap them up and then throw them in the trash. Yeah. But especially if you're working in someone's house that has little kids or pets or anything, you kind of want to keep them safe and away from everybody. Yeah. But I actually have this little razor blade trick that keeps it nice in there. Because, don't put these in your mouth. I've seen it, right? And then again, if you're laying them down this way, I'm a big fan of everything's on person. I have a little holster here. Yeah. You don't have to go out and buy all this, but you can use it just for more than stuff, wallpaper stuff. But it makes it easier too because everything will be right here. Yeah. It'll be on person with you. But yeah. So so after the walls are prepped, you let that all dry. Again, I brought two types of wall covering here.
Oh, I keep telling people, I keep forgetting to tell everybody to call in with your questions in a little bit. What, you don't think we're going to have time for that? You don't think anybody's going to be calling in? Is there anybody watching right now? Yeah. Yeah, we have people watching. Maybe they'll call in. We're still going to do it, Jim.
So here's a very important thing, again, for the homeowner and do-it-yourselfer. Okay? A lot of information is on right here. Yeah. Okay? And what you definitely want to check is the run number and die lot number. Okay? Especially when
run number?
Run number and die lot number. So here's the pattern, and here's the batch or run. It's either called batch
Can you get
or
there?
Run. Sure. So here's the pattern number. Okay? And it'll say batch. All right? And then that's pattern, this is batch or run. Make sure all those numbers are the same. Okay. Because if they're not, if you take one from batch 1 and you do a batch 2 and you hang them next to each other, you might see the difference.
Okay, so that's cool.
That's good to know. Great. All right. Also, this is a little thing here, is design repeat. So that's that arrow and the zero. Right. No, that means that there's no repeat in this. In the pattern.
It's not like you need it.
Right. Oh. So now, if you have something that says design repeat, say it says 24 inches.
Then that has to be left edge to right edge, period, right?
No, that means that every 24 inches is the pattern repeat. So you're going to waste a lot of paper.
Oh, okay.
You're going to waste a lot of paper.
Really?
Yeah. So sometimes the design repeat might be 10 inches, it might be 3 inches, it might be 24 inches. So if I'm hanging a room and I have a big pattern repeat, it's going to take me more wallpaper to hang.
You have to cut off a lot of extra paper.
Right.
To make the pattern repeat
properly. I see. With this, there's zero repeat, so you'll be able to cover more square footage.
Just go to 10. Closer to the mic.
Closer to the mic.
Closer to the mic, okay. Closer to the mic. I forgot my number. So this just opens up like so.
Oh, I should have brought the mic with us over there when we did that.
Okay. But whatever. So this is like so, and this is a easy paperback line. Yeah. Right?
I have to wear my glasses when I'm doing small work because my eyes are 51 years old now. So I cannot work without a set of glasses anymore. I cannot do small detail at all.
So this is a paperback vinyl. That means there's a piece of vinyl laminated together on the back of a piece of paper.
Cool.
Okay. Now this is pre-pasted stuff. You can just wet it, cut it on a table, all right, a workbench or a dining room table. Measure the length, cut the length, wet it with a roller. Just a little roller. I like to add a little paste into mine just to give you a little bit of play with it, and then you install it. this stuff here,
When you say the paste gives you play, what
yeah,
does
it gives
that
you a little bit of play. Like I would
add a little time to the drawing,
time to the drawing.
dries quick?
Right, and also it heats.
Wallpaper paste you're talking about.
Wallpaper paste. And then this stuff here, now this is stuff that this is residential, but this is a fabric back vinyl. Now feel the difference
Fabric backed vinyl.
Feel the difference between that.
Yeah.
Feel this. Now feel that.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a lot more durable.
Yeah.
Your bathroom, you're going to do a hallway that gets a lot of.
And it was like a leather simulated, and it was. I didn't do the wallpaper, but it always felt really creepy to me because the whole room was like skin. I'm like, what am I, inside of a giant elephant? What is this? You know.
But this stuff here is fabric back.
Okay.
So this stuff here.
And that does so, but that does so you. That has no adhesion on the back. You have to add your own adhesion.
You have to paste these yourself. Okay. You have me back. We'll set up a table. I'll show you next time how to paste everything.
Yeah.
This stuff here. Same installation, right? Mm-hmm. You paste it. You put it up. This, when it's time to remove, will pull right off.
Okay.
In strips, and then you can do whatever you want to the wall. You can repaper
because it's a thick
fabric back. This stuff here, when it's time to remove it, you'll take the vinyl off, and there'll be a paper backing, and then you have to wet the backing and pull it off.
So it's a two-stage.
Two different types of paper. Same basically installation, but also looking down the road for removal.
Awesome.
So, but yeah. So yeah.
I don't know if we're going to have time to add anything today, like put paper up.
Okay.
But I can tell you this, and this is no bullshit. I think I've learned more today than I've learned in a single day on the job in a while.
Yeah.
Just because this is all brand new for me.
I'd be more happy
Which
to
is
come
really
back.
neat.
We'll set up a table. I'll show you how to cut a sheet and we'll hang it.
Yeah. Next time we'll have more time because next time Vince comes back, we'll have all of our shit together. And we'll know exactly what we're doing, and we'll have a plan together. Maybe we'll even go to Vince's house. I don't know. But
let's not get crazy.
Yeah.
Not everybody knows where the Bat Cave is.
the Bat Cave or the Bat?
The Bat Cave.
I know.
The Fat Cave.
I want to know. I want to call it the Vat Cave.
Vat Cave.
Because you have a vat of.
Out of wallpaper paste.
A vat of wallpaper paste and smiles in his basement.
Shirt's not tucked in. I should have tucked my shirt in.
See? Blue collar guys. So, guys, we're not going to do the question and answer today simply because this is our first show. This was, I didn't want to call it a dry run because it's not a dry run. This is our first show. We just had a bunch of stuff to figure out today. That's all. And you got to see us learn and be flexible and not freak out when things don't work properly, because if you really want to do well and have fun and enjoy working on your house, you need to be flexible and take stuff as it comes, because it will never work out perfectly. It'll never work out the way that you thought it was going to work out. So if you're really attached to outcomes, I don't know where I was going with that. Where the hell was I going with that? Improvise. Yeah, improvise. Yes. Seek the joy of your own experience, even if it involves a hammer and some sheetrock. Okay? That's good. Ooh, you like that? Maybe that's a new catchphrase. As always, I really just want to thank everybody that helped me put on this freaking show today. Thanks to Jake, who had to leave early because he's got family stuff today. It's Sunday. Thanks, obviously, to my friend Vince Valentine for all of the great, interesting walk down memory lane, and for the wallpapering advice. That's it. As always, thanks for letting us bring a whole lot of experience and a little bit of humor onto your job site.
Fixing stuff in a serious way. The not so serious guy.